Hi, this is Tony Torres with Edina Realty Insurance, and today's topic is preparing for the thaw. This winter, we've had one of the snowiest winters since they've started tracking snow accumulations. I think that's been about 135 years since they started tracking, and we're in the top 10 of snowiest winters. So, what does that mean to us as homeowners? Number one, we need to be prepared for potential floods, and number two, we need to be prepared for water backup issues. Let's talk about floods. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is FEMA, runs the National Flood Insurance Program, and they define a flood as overflow of inland waters, unusual and rapid accumulation of runoff of surface waters from any source. So again, one of those sources can be the melting of snow. And so two things that you should be aware of. Number one, there's a 30-day waiting period from the time that you accept a policy and get the policy issued when it comes to being a homeowner and being an existing home. There's a 30-day waiting period for that flood insurance to be in effect. So if you think that you might have an issue, right now is the time to get yourself insured so that in a month from now, you've got the coverage. If you're buying a home and you're a brand new home buyer, then that insurance can be put in place and is effective the date of your closing. So that's the only thing that you need to keep in mind when it comes to getting flood insurance and when it's effective. And you could have a flood for other reasons than rising waters due to a thaw. It could be obviously if there was a tremendous amount of rain, or if there was an issue with a city and let's say their sewer, and because of their sewer not working properly, there was pressure that was built up, and again, the water wasn't able to flow where it normally would and accumulated on the streets and into your properties. Two things have to happen for it to be considered a flood by FEMA, and that is 2 acres of land need to be inundated by that water, or 2 properties need to be inundated by the water. So it doesn't matter how big the surface area is in terms of acreage. If there's 2 properties involved, then that's considered a flood. Let's move on to water backup. And I want to specifically talk about that sump pump discharge, that overflow, due to the fact that there's much water accumulated because of the thaw, and it's accumulated around the homes because as it melts, it seeps into the ground and can accumulate along your basement. Now, many homes have a tiling system that directs that water into a sump pump reservoir, and then the sump pump discharges that water outside of the building so that it doesn't accumulate along your foundation. Sometimes that sump pump will fail. Sometimes there are sump pumps that are strictly run by your home electricity, and the power fails, and therefore the sump pump doesn't do its job. Those things can cause major damage to your basement, particularly if you have a finished basement. So just wanted to mention that water backup is not a given coverage on your home. You need to put that on as an endorsement. The lowest coverage levels start around $5,000, and they go up from there. And some carriers will actually insure your home up to the value of the home for water backup. But I've seen $50,000, $100,000 in water backup coverage, depending on how nicely finished that basement is. So if you don't have enough water backup, now's the time to get a call out to your insurance agent. Call me if you'd like a quote for your home, and we can review those kinds of coverages. And again, if you're thinking that you might be in an area where there potentially could be a flood, now's the time to act and get yourself insured with a FEMA policy or a flood policy. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, 612-275-1371. Tony Torres with Edina Realty Insurance. Have a great day.